You are Srushti?
Yes, sir.
You live in Bhopal?
Yes, sir.
Your father is an engineer?
Yes, sir.
Where?
Sir, in Bhopal itself.
Bhopal. In private sector?
Yes, sir, in private.
And mother is a teacher?
Yes, sir. She's a preschool teacher.
You did your chemical engineering?
Yes, sir.
Passed out in 2018 only?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, this is your first chance?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You think chemical engineering degree will help in civil services?
Sir, the application of chemical engineering has been really right now, and otherwise also we have issues of environment, of industrial safety that are becoming important. So some or the
Coming from
other
Bhopal,
will
you
help.
should know.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay. Why you opted for sociology?
Sir, when I was going through the subjects that are available, I went through the syllabus and I found that it was really interesting. When I started reading, I found that it studied about the different social structures and the very society that we live in. We see in sociology the same thing from a different perspective. So it really intrigued me and I chose to continue with the subject.
You have read M.N. Srinivas?
Yes, sir.
He spoke of a very flexible caste system, no? Caste mobility. But in practice, that is not happening in India. What do you think?
So
We are very rigid about the caste.
So I'd say we were rigid about the caste, but with urbanization and migration of the people to city areas, the rigid notions of caste are loosening. I believe that we are moving in a positive direction. He talked about a cultural mobility, that in a cultural level, with the process of Sanskritization, the people use and emulate the different practices of the upper castes. And this is how they migrate upward in the caste systems.
But the politicians want the caste grouping to be very rigid for their own good, no?
Yes. So unfortunately, caste has also been utilized to divide the society, or for that matter, entrenchment of the caste can form groups, and this can help in votes and such politics. So it has been being misutilized.
Originally, people are from Maharashtra.
Yes, sir.
So when did you migrate to Bhopal?
Sir, my grandfather got an employment in the BHEL Bhopal. Industry. So he came to Bhopal and the entire family settled.
You like Bhopal?
Yes, sir.
It's called Lake of Cities.
City of Lakes. Yes, sir. It is.
City of Lakes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Beautiful city, sir.
Okay. Since you referred to that effect of chemical, what do you think happened in Bhopal gas tragedy?
So the after analysis of the incident has shown that a gas named methyl isocyanate, it leaked directly into the atmosphere. The hazard management systems were not working properly. So the safety equipment which could have avoided the gas directly being ejected in the atmosphere were not working. And that led to the direct effluent being discharged, and that led to a lot of deaths.
Any responsibility fixed in that case?
So
I believe the head of this thing flew away to America.
Yes, unfortunately, yes. The head of the Dow Chemicals, he fled to America, and very recently it was in news that they are going to form a new company. So it was being merged with some other company. So the very existence of Dow Chemicals will end. So if that happens, and if before that action is not taken, then the responsibility will not be able to be removed. So this is a thing that definitely needs to be adopted in the administration.
What is your opinion about this 10% reservation?
So this overall movement of reservation from being a caste-based to income-based, I believe is a step in the right direction. But the income limit that has been fixed, the 8 lakh which has been fixed as the limit, this I believe, sir, by various surveys, it covers about 98% of the Indian population. So the very effectiveness of reservation will not be there if so many and all the people will be given. So the poorest of the poor will, I feel, will continue to live in similar circumstances. that they are living in.
What should be the limit in your opinion?
So, we have chosen this to keep it parallel to the OBC creamy layer. But I believe, sir, the income tax limit of 2.5 lakh, which is there, that could be more practical limit. That people who are not unable to even pay taxes, they are the ones who get this benefit of preservation, education as well as income.
Should there be a creamy layer in SC, ST, like in OBC and like now in EWS?
So in sociology, we read about a concept called the Dalit elites. So this covers those scheduled caste or scheduled tribe families who have taken the benefit of reservation for generations, and they have moved to a higher level of the society. I believe there have to be good studies, practical research-oriented results. Only then we can comment on whether we can bring such green in the SCs.
Recently there was elections in Madhya Pradesh.
Yes.
So, you think the election was fair?
Yes, sir. The election commissioner and the head, who was responsible, he has entrusted that the elections which were conducted were in free and fair manner.
How can you say that?
Sir, whatever reports were there, verification was done and it was found that things were in order.
That is, recently there has been a debate about the efficacy of EVMs. What do you think?
So, time and again the Election Commission has opened up a challenge that if anybody has a doubt with regard to the EVMs, he or she or his party can come and all technical support will be given. If any hacking they want to do, they can. But people have come, but no such result has ever been possible. So, I believe this is reason enough to believe in the system.
You know, there was recently one debate started in UK about
Yes,
the EVM.
Sir, with regard to EVM, I'm aware, sir.
You were part of anti-ragging squad.
Yes.
So was it voluntary? You did it, or were you nominated for it? What it was?
So it was a voluntary and some teachers also, faculty members have to second your name. So both, we give our names and then our name is finalized.
But why was your name chosen? Are you a person who everyone was scared of, or you were into it for social cause? What was the reason? Why did you volunteer for it?
So I was not a person who somebody is scared of. In school, sir, I have been a part of leadership positions as minister. So I wanted to carry that thing in my university. So I gave my name for the
So, did you succeed to any extent in convincing people that ragging is a bad thing? What was your strategy? How did you go about it?
So to a large extent, ragging, and especially in my college, there is a zero tolerance policy. So we've been doing really good. So the administration has done so that the students coming from the first year have a slightly different timing for the lunch and coming to the college.
What was the impact of your work in this? Was there any impact?
Yes, sir, a lot. So our role was to make the interaction between the juniors and the seniors guided, supervised, but in a friendly atmosphere. So we succeeded in conducting camps, workshops, and making people aware about the menace of ragging and how it can harm the psychology of
Why
the
does
students.
this ragging take place in colleges? After all, every senior is a junior sometime.
Yes.
And then the same person starts ragging in third year or whenever. Why? What is the psychology behind this?
So I think the psychology behind ragging is a sadist attitude. A misguided person who tries to derive pleasure from inflicting pain on the other or trying to bully someone and deriving pleasure from that. So this misguided attitude is the
In
psychology.
sociology, have you heard of 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 What is his theory?
Sir Immanuel Durkheim has given a lot of, his works are widespread. His very much prominent theories of suicide where he tried to collect evidence and he tried to prove that suicide is not only a psychological but a sociological phenomenon as well.
And what about Max Weber, theory of bureaucracy? Have you studied?
Yes.
What are the key points?
So, Max Weber tried to delineate bureaucracy as he tried to generalize it and gave an ideal type of it. So he says that bureaucracy is he starts from saying it is an efficient system, and he says that when the countries progress, they need a system like bureaucracy to keep things in order, so that responsibilities could be
So some
given.
of the criteria he gave, features of an ideal bureaucrat.
Yes, sir.
Do you think it is present today in our bureaucracy? Say if you compare it with what is happening are you aware of what has happened in Delhi government? And if you take into account Max Weber's, that these are the features of a bureaucrat,
Yes.
has it worked in India?
So I'll say India is a large country, and we are a work in democracy in progress. So there are challenges with regard to the way bureaucracy works. With regard to the Delhi government, there have been certain concern regard to the coordination with the political executive. That has been a
What
concern.
about bureaucrats, refusing to attend meetings, bureaucrats refusing to send files to ministers? Do you think it is the best way in our country?
So I believe the right path to, even if any protest has to be registered, is opening and keeping open the lines of communication by not sending files or protesting in such a manner. Efficiency is harmed. So that I believe is not the correct way to handle.
Okay. So tell us something about what comes to your mind when you hear the word globalization.
So globalization, interconnectedness of economies.
Just give two benefit of globalization and two disadvantage of globalization.
So two benefits of globalization. The first one, the world is much more connected. People can move from one country to the other for education, for employment. Second, our local traders and our local manufacturers get entry to the big global markets. When we talk about the disadvantages, sir, the same phenomena can become negative if a large influx of products is allowed. So for example, the local manufacturers, the tribals for example in our country, or the farmers, they suffer if the market is opened. And second, sir, there has been a concern with regard to the jobs. If the local population is not well trained or well equipped, then the people coming from the foreign areas can take the same job.
There is a wide perception that globalization is under threat. What is your opinion?
So there have been certain remarks by countries like America, where they are proposing the idea of America first or protectionism, so to say. But sir, I'll say that we have moved a long way from 1960s, 70s. The world has moved a long way. Internet has made world a small place. I think we cannot go back to a place where we are in boxes and don't trade with the countries.
So you don't feel it's under threat?
So there are political undercurrents which are not trying to, maybe there are trade wars also happening. But I believe, sir...
Where is this trade war happening?
So between America and China currently.
So it's a trade war or a geostrategic competition to become the next superpower? Is it only a trade war or is something more than a trade war?
So I'll say yes, trade war is the outer thing that appears to us, but I'll say the aggressiveness or the way China has been pursuing it shows its own geopolitical intent behind it.
Chinese are very aggressive? In what sense?
So I'm talking in the sense of the policy in South China Sea and the naval presence as well as the Belt Road Initiative.
So in military terms they are aggressive, not otherwise. Economics they are okay.
No, sir. They have been also not, I think in terms of the international world trade, in terms of following the rules, they're also
they are breaking all the rules. That's what you're saying.
I'll say, sir, they are not towing the line, not very.
Srushti,
Yes.
what is fundamental train in sociology?
So fundamental.
Fundamental train.
I'll have to read up that, sir.
So recently, this is a new research engine. MP Gajab hai. Every day I used to see in television. What is this Gajab? What is so Gajab about MP?
So MP Gajab Hai is the tagline of Madhya Pradesh Tourism Department. And Madhya Pradesh is a state of natural as well as cultural heritage. A lot of national parks, Kanha National Park, 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨𝐧, everything. We also have the cultural heritage, whether it is the Buddhist heritage close to my town, Sanchi Stupa. Then we have the ancient caves of 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐨𝐧 and other Khajuraho temples are very prominent.
Have you seen ever the painting of 𝐀𝐝𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴?
Yes, sir.
Which classification is under this painting? This painting is what? Fresco or Siyahi Kalam or mural or canvas? Which painting is there?
So it's done on stone, so I'll say a mural painting.
Mural painting. Sure.
No, sir.
Who repaired the Sanchi Stupa?
Sanchi Stupa.
Repaired it.
So, Begum Bhai Khusro was, she took interest in the repair and conservation.
Have you heard the name of Pushyamitra Sunga?
Yes, sir.
Is there any connection of Sanchi Stupa to him?
And also I read on that.
Which caste in MP is a dominant caste? As per the theory of Srinivas.
So,
What is the idea of SCBA regarding power receiver and power exerciser? Regarding dominant caste. Have you read SCBA in your sociology syllabus?
Sir, I've read about his studies on villages. I'm unaware of
Rampur,
the caste
Which village?
factor.
I mean, Srinivas had a study of dominant caste on which village?
Sir, 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬 of Mysore. He studied in the 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢 of Mysore.
It is about dominant caste. I think it's Rampurwa of UP. His study was based on.
So, M.N. Srinivasa's study is based in Karnataka, as I know.
Okay. So, in geopolitics, what right now we have discussed a lot about South China Sea. Tell me something about happening in South America.
So the prominent countries of South America, Brazil, Argentina, Chile. I'd say, sir, politically, in Brazil there has been recently the president, a couple of years ago, President Dilma Rousseff, she was ousted on the allegations of corruption.
Anything
In context of our relations, sir.
Anything in Venezuela?
In Venezuela, yes, sir. So there is an oil crisis going on, and currency is also hit of Venezuela. So because of that, sir, there is a threat of the overall oil production being harmed.
In any way, is India affected by this crisis?
Yes, sir. India is a energy scarce country, and crude oil is our major import.
Do you import anything from Venezuela?
So we could have thought of diversifying, but I believe it has an impact on the American currency, which can impact us in the long run, sir.
Venezuela is a member of OPEC.
So it was a member of OPEC, but the current position I am not aware.
It's a member of OPEC.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay. So, mention some significant point that why India should be included in the UN Security Council.
So currently India is in the developing countries, we are the fastest growing economy. With regard to the security perspective, in the South Asian region, we are a very prominent country, and we have been scaling up our defense architecture as well. The sheer population of India, 1.2 billion strong people, and soon in 2030 we will be the country with the largest
Suppose only
population.
one country to be included in UN Security Council, and we have option of 4. Brazil, Germany, India and Japan. So technically, as per your global perspective, not being an India, which country should be there?
So I'd still say India because we represent the developing world. Those African nations in South Africa, South American nations who are not represented and are part of the developing lot. So we represent their interests in other forums as well, like the WTO. So I believe India is the correct.
Not from South America is not represented. The entire subcontinent is missing in UN Security Council. So why not? There should be a balance.
Sir, our engagement with the other permanent members of the UN Security Council, like whether it is United States or Russia or China, has been on a greater level. Our engagement and interaction is more. So I believe that India continues to be the.
Who is your favorite politician?
Sir, the Prime Minister of our country, Shri Narendra Modi.
Srushti, according to you, which are 5 most serious global problems?
So the first one, I'll say terrorism, the scourge of terrorism. Second, sir, unemployment, the lack of jobs, quality jobs for people. So third, I'll put to poverty, which continues to be the first sustainable developmental goal.
Okay.
So fourth, environmental change, the climate change that's happening and the sheer effect on biodiversity. And so fifth, I'll say the problem against women, the crimes against women, the violence against them is common to all.
There is a problem of substance abuse also. How serious you feel the problem is globally?
So globally as well as in context of India, the problem is really severe. So the substance, like the different drugs, they are available in the world, and there are organized crime syndicates that work in this sector. They try to utilize or take advantage of poor people in transporting.
Can you name any 3 drugs which are quite dangerous globally circulating?
So drugs, some meth.
Okay.
Sir, I'll read out.
What is genetic engineering? No.
So genetic engineering, a very broad field. It is each and every living organism has its own genetic bioprint or footprint. So if we engineer that, change it in some form or the other, whatever product, whether it is plant-based or animal-based, it will be said to be genetically engineered.
What is the difference between chromosome and gene?
So,
Because for resorting to genetic engineering, we have to manipulate
manipulate the genes. Yes.
Gene, how will you define gene?
So I'd say gene is the biomarker that comprises the information for inheritance.
And what is the chemical substance?
So there are proteins which carry this information.
DNA?
Yes, sir, the deoxyribonucleic acid.
Okay. How will you define an ecosystem?
So ecosystem is a productive interrelated network of organisms which interact for their living.
Only organisms are
So both biotic and abiotic factors.
you have mentioned yoga and meditation as your hobbies, etc. Don't you read books when other than your course books and
So lately I have not had the time to spend
what
after my
movies?
graduation.
Movies you watch?
Not much, sir.
Not much, but sometimes?
Uh,
Very few.
Very few, sir.
Okay. What about artificial intelligence? Do you know who coined the term?
So a person named Alan, I'm forgetting the second.
Okay.
Mm.
What
So,
is it?
so artificial intelligence the intelligence which we humans possess, when we utilize this or transplant or use this technology or similar kind of work in a machine or in a non-artificial object, then that would be termed as artificial intelligence, when the machine gains the ability to think or perform some functions on its own.
Okay. What are your views on censorship in our country?
Censorships.
Yeah.
So, I believe that the right to freedom of expression is a part of the Indian Constitution. And more as we, the youth especially, we try to explore new fields, we do experiment, and there are certain things which might come in conflict to the traditional structure of India. But I still believe that there should be more space and there should be less censorship.
I mean, the present setup needs to be tuned up or changed, or do you have some suggestions?
So I'd say there should be self-regulation when it comes to whether it is the print media. There could be certain boundaries with regard to the national security and the Indian sovereignty. But beyond that, sir, we could be given more freedom to express the viewpoints.
You are a chemical engineer.
Yes, sir.
So how do you feel about pollution in our country?
So India unfortunately has been performing badly when it comes to pollution, especially air pollution, even the soil pollution, sir. So we need to pay more attention to the way our industries function. The effluent treatment plants need to be properly established so that the discharge is not directly in the air or in the water. And so more monitoring could be done so that proper data is available. Recently, these things are getting more active with indexes like the Ease of Living Index, where the city's pollution levels and the environmental checkup is done. This aspect.
Last question. How will you define biodiversity?
So I'd say biodiversity is comprises of all the living matters, and I use the word biotic factors as well as abiotic organisms as well as other abiotic factors which support life. Together, all of this, the habitat, it forms the biodiversity.
So this, the biodiversity is being given a lot of attention. So what is being done about it? I mean,
So the chief, I'll add that India is one of the countries wherein 2 to 3 biodiversity hotspots are there. So the steps which I believe are being taken. So the conservation of forests, this is the first because most of our biodiversity is there in the forest. And so beyond that, more awareness is being generated in the people.
What can be done for the women empowerment still?
So we need to move from the narrative of women empowerment to women-led development, where we give women the responsibility, the charge, more autonomy, where they can make their own decisions. That, in my thinking, would be
That is the only thing that can lead a change?
So that is an intellectual one. Practically, so I'll say the first one, financial independence needs to be promoted in women. Their participation in the workforce needs to be improved. And to do that, better, safer workplaces, equal income to women, just like men. This can encourage more women to enter the
Why
workforce.
there is a difference between your father's pay package and your mother's pay package? It's a huge difference.
Yes, sir.
Is that the reason you have this opinion?
No, sir. I'll say this is one of the factors, but I also studied as well that women are not paid on
Why
an
the
equal-
need of the preschools arises these days very much as compared to the 30 years back?
So I'd say there are 2-3 factors. The first, common to earlier as well, that directly when a child goes to the school, he's not much aware about the way to sit, stand, eat. So in the preschool, they are trained or they are just made aware about the environment that they need to
Are
spend
the
their
parents
next
not
14
becoming
years.
very harsh towards their kids in terms of sending their kids at the age of 2.5 or 3 to the school when they need much of affection from the parental side?
So I'll say that our society is in transition right now. We have families where both the mother and father is working. So it is their compulsion that they need to send their kids to either creche or preschool. But I'd say that preschool is a good avenue if the kids are properly taken care of.
What change you get if given a chance to head the Bhopal? One or two.
So Bhopal is a developing city, but we are facing a couple of issues with regard to the urban transport and urbanization. All of the issues with regard to urbanization. So I'll work on the urban mobility sector, like proper connectivity, end-to-end connectivity from the airport, railway stations. This will be the first. And so secondly, slums are coming up in a lot of areas. It is causing not only problems to the people who are migrating to Bhopal, but also to the public environment. So that would be the area.
So what can be done in
So-
curbing these issues?
So like the recent Amrit scheme talked about the slum redevelopment, where the slum inhabitants will be provided with houses. So sir, they could be provided for proper housing facilities and water sanitation facilities.
You've been living for so long with this Bhopal tragedy in your mind since your childhood, What change would you like to get into the judicial system these days after seeing all the proceedings and happenings throughout the tenure?
So I'll agree that judicial system and the delay, the sheer backlog of cases, it has taken a toll on the way the cases should have been dispensed with. So as far as the suggestion is concerned, so I'll say such cases of such grave nature where even for generations people have been suffering, the rehabilitation and compensation system should be accelerated and given at the very earliest as possible. And these cases should be prioritized. And so not only the judiciary, I'll say the police investigation system also needs to have much more expertise and training so that they can come up with right and correct evidence at the right time, so that the judicial system can be
So you mean to
expert.
say the policing charge sheet was not right?
No sir, I'll say there have been delays. So on the part of the police as well. So if the entire system needs to work, the investigative system also needs to be in proper order.
What are your service preferences?
So the first is Indian Administrative Services, then the Indian Police Service, then the Indian Revenue Services IT, Indian Revenue Services Custom, and Indian
Last
Traffic
question,
Service.
what can be done to change the mindset of the people towards the police? Or to change the policing?
So there's a sense of fear with regard to between the common citizen and the police. So a person fears going to the police station, whether it's a woman or a common person. So much more greater interaction with the police. We never get to meet policemen unless there are some family members. In schools, in public places, if the policemen can get more friendly. And so secondly, I recently came across an initiative of police volunteers, Mahila police volunteers, where women from the community were given in charge of if any incident takes place, they should be the first person to report. This way we can form a network which directly connects us to the police, and this will improve our relations.
Thank you, Beta.
Thank you,
very much.